What is going on, guys? It is Evan from Wildcard Sports. Papa's nickname's been spreading around lately. So, it's just going to be me for this episode, Epi 4 of the Wildcard Sports podcast. And today, it's going to be a short one. Just going to talk about my week 2 predictions and Pop's gambling corner. So, just talking about picks on Sunday and tomorrow night, Monday. This is a Sunday morning for me. Um, it was crazy week 1. We talked about it earlier this week, and another pretty decent game on Thursday night, I'd say, as Tampa is able to squeak out a win against Carolina. I'm 0 for 2 on my Thursday night picks so far. Come on now. Panthers and Bears let me down, even though I kind of wanted Tampa to win the game. But so we're here for episode 4 of the podcast, and pretty excited. So I'm just gonna give you my picks. I'm gonna get the picks from Riss and Foe so we can put those picks together and see who is on top after week 2 and try and get an overall record for you guys. That's just gonna take a little bit of time for me to get a hold of. So I'm just gonna go through all the games. We should have 15 to go through on Sunday and Monday. Won't take too long, and we're gonna do Pop's gambling corner afterwards. We went 4-1 last week, but kind of thought I'd pick some easier games, so I'm gonna pick some more difficult ones, more of coin flips. So all the games that I am picking are within 3 points, according to Vegas. So let's jump into it. I'm gonna skip those 5 games. We're gonna save those for the end because I don't want to spoil anything before we get into it. So starting off, 1 o'clock today, just a couple hours from now. Actually, 2 hours and 1 minute from now, so it's 10:59. Cowboys and Redskins in Washington. Dallas coming off a big win against New York. Dak had a great game. Over 400 yards, 3 touchdowns, perfect passer rating. Love to see that from my team. Please don't hate me for that, viewers. But I like them today again against Washington. Washington is not a fluke. They are no joke of a team. They usually play Dallas pretty tough. So I think it's going to be closer than maybe what people expect or they're going to pick. Dallas probably going to win by about a touchdown. That seems about right to me. Probably more low scoring, I'd say 23-16. Dallas will win within a touchdown. Case Keenum was great for Washington week 1. That D-line was great. They just couldn't hold that 17-point lead they had because Philly's a tough team. They're strong. They're going to make halftime adjustments. They are an elite football team. Washington was just not able to make the adjustments they needed to make, and that's why they fell short in week 1. So I think they're going to lose again this week for Washington, but I think they're going to show better and not let this one slip away, or give up that big scoring run like they did to Philly. So next we're gonna have Seahawks and the Steelers. Pittsburgh, wow, really let me down in week 1. I pump you guys up big time. I say, heck, why not go to the Super Bowl, win the Super Bowl? Why don't you Pittsburgh? Even though I would rather see someone else win it. But I felt Pittsburgh in that moment, and they lose by 30 to New England, who looked amazing. And it looks like it's gonna be another year that someone's gonna have to go into Foxborough and beat them. So that was tough. Seattle gets a 1-point win against Cincinnati. Like what is that? So I like Pittsburgh in this one again. They're gonna bounce back. This is a great run football organization. From up top, the ownership, down to the GM and head coach. And players know that they're better than what they were against New England in week 1. So a younger Seattle team, Pittsburgh bounces back at home. They're going to beat Seattle by about 5 points, I'd say. 4 or 5 points. So let's put that one at about 24-20 Pittsburgh. All right. Next one here, skipping that one. That's going to be in the picks. Where do they go here? Okay, so next we have the Patriots and the Dolphins. This one's about 18.5 points, which is probably the most I've seen, honestly, in my life that I've been paying attention to the spread. Last time these two teams met in Miami, we saw the Miami Miracle. I'm saying Minneapolis Miracle. We saw the Miami Miracle. Couple of laterals, and Kenyon Drake takes it to the house. We'll be seeing you, Kenyon. um, oh man, I don't think Miami's gonna play as bad as they did in Week 1. A lot of players are saying they want to trade. I saw Minka Fitzpatrick is linked to Dallas. They were showing some interest. Don't know how that's moving along at all. I just don't think they can play as bad as they did against Baltimore. They're gonna have to show some pride when they hit the field at 1 o'clock today, because they're at home and it's New England. It's a division game. I know they're one of probably the best team in the NFL right now, but you just gotta play tougher than that. You can't lose by 49 in the NFL, and it's not even like a top five team. I'd say the Ravens. Nothing against the Ravens, they're a good team, but they're not top five. So you should be losing by 49 points to anyone in the NFL. So I expect Miami to show a little bit more toughness today. They're gonna want to put more points on the board. Heck, maybe we'll see part two of the Miami Miracle. That would be crazy for you bettors in Las Vegas. I'd probably be walking home with a lot of cash if you put some money on Miami to win this one outright. But I'm going to take New England to win, probably about 3 touchdowns, probably right around that spread line. So I'll take New England to win 35-17. That was about right? That's about 20 points. That's 18 points. That's right on the line. All right. Look at me just making up scores in my head, but they work out right. Coming up next, we have the Jaguars and the Texans in Houston. I think you hear it every episode from me. I like Houston. They come off a tough loss against New Orleans. So, which they were the better team, I thought, throughout the whole game. So I like you call them Texas. I like Houston to win this one. Gardner Minshew is gonna be his first career start for the Jags. He came in to replace Nick Foles. Actually did a pretty good job. Good job, Gardner, against Kansas City last week when Nick went down with that collarbone injury. Hope he is getting better right now, coming out of surgery. So I like Texans in this one. Probably going to win by about 10 to 13 points. I think Jacksonville's defense is going to keep it close, but the Texans will definitely be determined to win this football game. So I'm going to go with the final score. Texans 30, Jacksonville 17. All right, so I'm going to pick that game. So let's move on to the next one. This one's tough for me. Maybe you guys are going to think that I've been hating on this team a little bit so far. They haven't been in my power rankings at all. Chargers and the Lions in Detroit. Chargers coming off of an overtime win against Indianapolis in Week 1 at home. And the Lions are coming off of a Week 1 tie against the Cardinals when they had, I think it was like 23-6 lead. So it wasn't good for the Lions. They were probably already looking ahead to Week 2. They thought they had the young Arizona squad wrapped up, but Kyler Murray, led that team back to a tie. Man, this is honestly a tough one for me. I think the Lions are going to come out here in Week 2. They're a little embarrassed from what happened last week. I would think Matt Patricia has to be a little upset with their performance at the end of that game. Like, you just have to find a way to put that away, run the clock out, get one more score. Like, come on, guys, you can't let any team back into it. This is the NFL. Like, these guys are all professionals. They know how to play. So I think the Lions are going to bounce back. This is going to be a tight game, I think, within 3 points. But I haven't been showing much love to the Chargers. So, oh, man, something's telling me Lions. But I'm going to go against my guts, which is probably never good. I'm going to go Chargers 23-20 over the Lions. It's going to be tight. One could go either way, I think, though. But if the Chargers destroy them, sorry, Chargers. But underestimating you guys. All right, so let's move on to a matchup of 1-0 versus 0-1. 49ers coming off a win against Jaboo's Buccaneers. And the Bengals coming off a 1-point loss to Seattle. Andy Dalton was pretty good. Can't believe I'm saying that. Was pretty good in week 1. 49ers able to get the job done. They had 2 pick sixes against the Buccaneers. I messed that stat up all week. Jabu had 3 interceptions against the 49ers, and 2 were returned for touchdowns. I thought it was only 1 for a pick six and 2 interceptions. So, I got to credit the 49ers defense with that. This is probably another tight game. Cincinnati feels like they can do damage. They were able to compete with a team that made the playoffs last year in Seattle. So they're going to feel a little bit juiced up. 49ers coming off of it was a close game for probably about 2.5, 3 quarters, and then they were able to pull away from the Bucks. This is going to be probably, I don't know if it's an upset or not. I think the game's even. Like, you could pick it. I'm going to go Cincinnati in this one. They feel good. Even though they lost in week 1, they were able to play with Seattle and almost got the win there. So, and San Francisco wasn't, they were good enough to win, but they were not something too special in week 1. I'm going to take Cincinnati in this one. We're still early in the season. So let's take Cincinnati in this one. I can't tell if this is going to be a high scoring or low scoring game. Let's make it a low scoring one. Let's say defenses come to play. Let's do 17-14 Cincinnati. You heard it right here on the Wildcard Sports podcast from me, Pop. Cincinnati's going to win. Coming up next, our second biggest spread of the week. We have the Cardinals coming off that tie, as we just mentioned, against Detroit. Heading to Baltimore, who just put a whooping 49-point victory, 59-10. I think that's what it was, right? 59-10? 59-17. I think it was 59-10 against Miami. Double guessing myself. But I think Baltimore's going to win this one for sure. They just seen it was 59-10. I'm looking at it right now. I had to go back and make sure. It's a 49-point victory against Miami. They definitely like Baltimore. Sorry, stumbling all over my words right now. Lamar Jackson showed he could pass in week 1. I know it was against the Dolphins, who didn't show much like they wanted to be on the football field. But I like them again this week. Not going against too tough of a defensive opponent, I'd say, in Arizona. So I'm going to like them to win this game as well. Kyler Murray's got a tough defense to go against, tougher than what he had against Detroit. So he struggled for 3 quarters against them. I think he'll struggle 3 or maybe 4 quarters against Baltimore today. So I think Baltimore's going to be able to shut down Arizona. Not going to put up 59 points on Arizona, I don't think. But I'll take the Ravens to win this one pretty comfortably. I'm going to go 31-13. Ravens look good again in week 2. And they might be the favorites in the North. That was pretty dramatic, wasn't it? All right. Let's head to the 4 o'clock games, shall we? Chiefs, Raiders, both teams in the AFC West. Both teams coming off a week 1 victory. Chiefs against the Jags and Raiders against the Broncos. Honestly, both teams look pretty good, I'd say. Raiders played pretty well at home Monday night. Raiders are the home team. Chiefs are projected to win by a touchdown. And it's Patrick Mahomes. Actually, let's talk about the Chiefs quick. They got beat up pretty good in week 1. Tyreek Hill's going to be out for a while. Patrick Mahomes has a sprained ankle, but apparently is good enough to play, so I don't know what they're doing to get him out there, if it's not too bad, or they're giving him the good stuff to get out there. I like the Chiefs, of course, to win this one. Let's see what John Gruden's Raiders can do, though. Can they keep up in this one? I'd love to see it. I'd have to see it to believe it, honestly. So I'm gonna take Kansas City to win this one. They're probably gonna score a decent amount of points. No, they're playing on a baseball field though. So let's go. Chiefs 33, Raiders 20. Chiefs gonna win by 13 points. Calling it right now. All right, I'm picking that one, so we got to skip it. I think I did a pretty good job of skipping all the ones I wanted to talk about for Pop's Gambling Corner so far. Bears, Broncos. Let's talk it. Both teams coming off, you could say, disappointing week 1s. The Bears lose on Thursday night in the NFL's 100th season opener against the Packers. 10-3, 3 points, never going to cut it for a win in the NFL. I don't think no matter how good your defense is, someone's usually going to score. Broncos lose to the Raiders. And they did not look good early in that game. I didn't get to see all that game, but the Raiders looked good and the Broncos looked average. Joe Flacco's got to be better. I know his stats were decent enough to compare to Derek Carr's, but you just got to be better than that. The Broncos are so good. I don't know. Remember the stat? I just saw it. They are amazing in their week, like in their home opener for the season. So this is their home opener, and guess who's the head coach? Vic Fangio is the head coach of the Denver Broncos now, and he was the Bears' defensive coordinator last year. So he saw Mitch Trubisky all the time at practice. He knows his weakness. He knows his strengths. And this defense for Denver can play when they need to. So I know they're my NFC North pick, but it's not looking good for the Bears early because they head to Denver. I'm going to take the Broncos to win this one in a low-scoring game again. I'm going to go 13-9. The Broncos are going to hold the Bears to 3 field goals in this one, and they're going to win a tight one at Mile High. I felt like I took a lot of safe picks last week, and it just didn't. Some of them just didn't work out the way I wanted them to. So I think we got to throw some upsets in there. I kind of feel strong about this one I just did with Denver. Do we really make any other upsets? I kind of think the Lions can beat the Chargers, but I'm gonna take the Chargers. That's my safe pick. That was me being a little wussy wuss. So let's move on to our last one before we move into Pop's Gambling Corner. It is Monday Night Football. The Browns going against the Jets. And this one was going to have a big boost in TV ratings, I would have thought, with Baker Mayfield going against Sam Darnold, but just comes out on Friday. Excuse me. That Sam Darnold has mono. So Sam is not going to be playing for a couple of weeks. And we'll talk about the Jets quick. This is where they're going to fall out of my playoff predictions. The schedule's brutal. Straight brutal. They're going to go against the Browns on Monday night. It's short notice with Sam being sick. They're going to lose. Browns are going to win this game. Picking it right now. They're going to have to play New England, Dallas, Philly, someone else tough too. I can't think. They have their next 5 games are brutal. They could be 1-5, 0-6 after six games of football. They have that week 4 bye. I believe it's either week 4 or week 5, but they have the earliest bye. I think it's week 4. So that's going to be probably helpful in this case. Normally the early bye is not as helpful. You want it in the middle or later in the season to get those guys rested, but they're going to need it to get Sam Darnold back. It's going to be brutal for them, and they're going to go downhill, I think. They have injuries all over the board. I know Le'Veon Bell's MRI comes back negative. He's good to play, but something's got to be bothering him if he's got to get an MRI on it. CJ Mosley on defense, he's hurt. Quinnen Williams, he's hurt. So I think the Browns, talking on short notice, the Browns are going to win this game. I'd say probably pretty big, significant. I'll go 30 to probably 30-10. Low scoring. I don't think the Jets are going to be able to score a lot because they're just throwing a backup quarterback now, late in the week. I don't think they knew about Sam Darnold being sick. Maybe they did. I'm not in the Jets facility, so I don't know. But it's pretty tough to get your backup ready on 1 week preparation. They're going to go against a team that has a pretty stout defense. And the Browns, even though they gave up 43 in week 1, they're better than that. They got to get that discipline under control and that watch scenario under control. And that's my apologies too. I said $30,000 watch. I didn't realize watch was $350,000. Holy cow, OBJ, man! Just wait 3 hours to get that thing. put that thing on because you don't want to break that. You don't want to break that watch. I'll take it if you break it though. Probably still has enough worth. But like the Browns in this one, it's at 30-10. They're gonna roll over New York, I think, on Sunday night. New York's gonna fall out of my AFC predictions, and I'm gonna come back with another AFC wild card team. It's not the Chargers. It's a team coming up in my Pops Gambling Corner. So let's head to that right now. Let me switch here. I have it written down on paper. So we have 5 games that we're picking against Vegas's line, and all of them this week are within 3 points of each other. We went 4-1 last week, but it was week 1. We were 6 seconds away from being 5-0, but I thought, hey, people want the close games, so I'm gonna give you some of the closest games we have this week, and they're gonna be good games too. They're not all gonna be scrub games. These are all gonna be good games. Let's jump into it. First off, Minnesota going against Green Bay at Lambeau. Green Bay is 2.5-point favorites at home. Well, guess what? I like Minnesota in this one. Green Bay's offense could not get going in week 1 against the Bears. The Bears have a good defense. You know who else has a good defense? Minnesota. They barely gave up any points as well to Atlanta. That is Matt Ryan, Julio Jones, Calvin Ridley. That's who we're talking about here. So I like Minnesota in this one. It's going to be a close game, but I like Minnesota to win 24-20 over Green Bay. Next, we have the Colts going against the Titans. Titans coming off a 30-point win. It ended up to be against Cleveland. That has nothing to do with this pick, really. The Colts coming off that overtime loss against the Chargers. I like Tennessee in this one. They're a 3-point favorite. They were never able to beat the Titans. Were never able to beat Andrew Luck when he was at quarterback. Literally didn't win a game when Andrew Luck played against them as the Colts quarterback. Andrew Luck's not playing. You know what? Tennessee's gonna win. Tennessee is gonna win this game. Their offense, if they could just get Mariota going on a week-to-week basis, this team is very, very dangerous. And you know what that means? They're either going to vow for the AFC South or they're going to be that new wild card team for the Jets. I have another wild card team that also might vie as well. But for now, I'm going to take the Titans. I think in this pick and the prediction for the wild card that came out kind of confusing. Titans are going to win this one 20-14, low scoring game, but the Titans are going to get the job done. They have the defense to get it done. All right, next up we have the Bills, 2-point favorite against the Giants. Giants got a little butt whooping against Dallas in week 1. And the Bills came back 17 unanswered points to beat the Jets. I like Bills at -2. They're going to win this game. They have confidence going their way. Josh Allen, come on now. This is your time to shine. Oh, excuse me. Let's get the job done. Eli, he's washed up. If they don't go to Daniel Jones, you're definitely going to win this one, Buffalo, I think. I feel confident about this pick. Buffalo's going to win the game 22. Why not 22? 22-17. They're going to take out the Giants. Oh, and we have 2 classics for our last one. First off, it is a rematch of last year's NFC Championship game. Go hide yourselves, refs. Actually, no need. We are in LA for this one. The Saints traveling to Los Angeles, and the Rams are a 1.5-point favorite to beat the Saints. Guess what? I love this. The number keeps coming down. Rams' confidence, for me, keeps going up in this one. Saints coming off a pretty dramatic week 1 win over Houston, I'd say, and that's good. That's draining as a team, and it's gonna be a short week for them. They're coming. That's a Monday night game. They have to get it all settled. Head out west to LA, and they're gonna be playing at 1 o'clock time there. So I'm gonna take the Rams in this one. Both teams didn't look too good. I'm just watching to make sure my mic didn't cut out here. I'm just looking at my screen. Both teams didn't look too good in week 1. They have shaken some rust off, I'd say, but everyone's got to shake some rust off every once in a while. So let me take the Rams in this one. Let's go high scoring. I'll say it's going to be high scoring. Why not? Let's go 42-35. Rams over the Saints, but I like them definitely. And the last one comes as tonight's Sunday night football. It is in Atlanta. The Falcons are going to host the Eagles, who come in as a 1.5 point favorite on the road. Falcons, 1.5 underdogs at home. Matt Ryan, Julio Jones, Calvin Ridley. Give me the Falcons. Eagles didn't look too good in week 1 after one half of football against Washington. Remember, I said Washington's not a scrub, but Washington's not a top-tier team. You have to come out ready to play better than that. Atlanta got basically embarrassed against Minnesota. They give up 28 points to Minnesota, and Kirk Cousins only threw 10 passes, only completed 8 passes. What is that? This is sort of like Atlanta and Pittsburgh kind of go together here. The same story. Two well-run football teams, I'd say, that coming off brutal week 1 losses. And Atlanta's going to bounce back this week. They're going to take out the Birds. Are going to take out the Birds. Falcons will beat the Eagles. Give me the Falcons to win this one, 25-21. And those are Pop's Gambling Corner picks for week 2. I know they're only, the highest one is a field goal difference, and I'm taking a lot more risks than I did in week 1, and I feel something inside me. I feel better about that. So here we go. Let's run through them again. I like Minnesota against Green Bay. They're 2.5 point underdogs. They're going to beat Green Bay. Tennessee is a 3 point favorite against Indianapolis. Give me the Titans in this one. The Bills, 2 point road favorites against the Giants at MetLife. And here's what also works out for the Bills. They're playing their first 2 games on the road, but they're at the same stadium. They're playing at the same stadium 2 weeks in a row. So they just won at MetLife against the Jets. So they feel comfortable playing there now. They're taking on the Giants, who's probably a worse team than the Jets, definitely. Give me the Bills. They're my other team that is vouching for that second wild card with Tennessee, with almost said San Diego, with Los Angeles Chargers. So Bills, keep it going. I know you have a tough schedule. You're facing the NFC East, so you got to play Philly and Dallas as well. Keep chugging along. Might be in there at the end. What's my next one? Saints, Rams. I picked LA in this one. They're 1.5 point favorites at home. It keeps coming down. People think Saints are going to win this one for revenge. Give me LA at home at the Coliseum to show that they were meant to be in the Super Bowl. It's a big matchup in week 2. Last one, Sunday Night Football. Eagles 1.5 point favorites on the road. Come on, Atlanta. That has to be a little punch to the gut right there. Atlanta is going to win this game outright at home against the Eagles. Still going to be a close game. All of these, I think, are going to be close games. But I feel very confident. Minnesota, Tennessee, Buffalo, Los Angeles, and Atlanta. Those are my 5 picks. So that's Pop's Gambling Corner for week 2. We went over my week 2 picks. Remember to get those. I'm going to get the picks from Riss and Foe for week 2. Just couldn't get together for this one. I've been working the past couple of days. Riss is up at Penn State. He went to see the Penn State Pitt game. Penn State barely holding on in that one, but a win's a win. And tough to see Florida's quarterback go down. Franks, you never want to see that. Never want to see someone get hurt like that. But hopefully he gets better. He heals up well. Other college, not really. I don't think there were like any upsets this week besides Michigan State. They lost to Arizona State. That's about it for college football. just got news this morning. A Bruins fan myself, Charlie McAvoy. We're talking hockey now. Charlie McAvoy just signed with the Bruins, 3-year, $4.9 million a year. It's basically a bridge deal, I'd say. NHL looking at a possible CBA, like lockout in a couple seasons. So they give him the money that he needs, and wants. He doesn't need it. That he wants for the next 2 years, and then his third year is all in salary. But with that signing bonus money that he gets for these first 2 years, he'll be perfectly fine with that. And for the Bruins, they don't have a lot of space in cap right now, but they should be able to sign him in about 2 years to that long-term deal that'll get him in Boston for the rest of his prime career, I'd say. What other news? We are looking at September 15th today. The NHL opens on October 2nd. I'm just super excited for that. I'm going to be more of the NHL guy, a little bit with Riss, but mostly me on those topics. Riss and Foe, they're going to be the NBA guys. I don't know much about the NBA. I don't watch it too often. Big hockey and football guy. And we have other little sports as well. What else? Not too many people follow it as much anymore, but NASCAR playoffs opening up today, I think, in Las Vegas. My man Chase Elliott is in that. Hopefully Chase can make a run, maybe for a championship. But coming into the playoffs, I like Denny Hamlin as a favorite. He's just been good all year and just been able to find that number 11 FedEx Toyota up in front. I wouldn't mind if Denny won, but of course I want Chase to win, or any other Hendrick drivers. Rip to Jimmy Johnson's chances at that title this year. Feel bad for the guy. Really want him to win. Go out on a winning note. But it's tough. It's tough to win in that sport. Baseball. We mostly watched Phillies. Heard my story the other day on the episode 3 about Foe not going to the Phillies, and then Kingery hits a inside the park home run. Foe, you missed that. But yeah, we got sports to cover. We've been talking a lot of football because football's just getting underway. We love football. That's all three of us get. When the three of us unite, football's going to be on top. And then we have hockey and basketball on our sides. But I want to talk all sports all the time, but not too much news going around right now. Just counting down 2 more seasons and the start of this beautiful season in the NFL. The NFL's 100th season. So thank you guys so much for listening. These are my week 2 predictions and the Pops Gambling Corner. Looking to go positive record 3-2, 4-1, 5-0. That'd be great. Come on, don't put me below 500 now. So if you guys like this, please drop a like. If you haven't subscribed yet, subscribe. Drop some comments below. Did you like my picks? What don't you like about my picks? And any other ideas that you might have to talk about, make the channel better, all that good stuff. So it's Pop from Wildcard Sports signing out. This has been Epi 4 of the podcast. Thank you guys for listening.